Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely pumped to have you here today because, well, we are tackling something seriously ambitious. We're going to break down the exact step-by-step blueprint of how a creator built a viral AI YouTube Shorts channel from scratch and actually hit breakout success in literally just 7 days. We're diving into the specific strategies, the storytelling frameworks, and the hardcore analytics that took an empty channel to tens of thousands of views in record time. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. 200 billion. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is the number of views generated on YouTube Shorts every single day. 200 billion. The scale of that daily attention is just massive, and what it means is that the demand for new, engaging, short-form content is virtually limitless, mostly because the platform desperately needs a constant supply just to keep viewers swiping.
But, that leads us right to the main question of our explainer today. With so much content already out there, how can a brand new channel capture even a tiny slice of that pie using AI? Like, how do you actually crack the code to stand out in such a crowded market without just crossing your fingers and hoping for pure luck? Well, the answer comes down to a super calculated approach, and it actually starts way before you even generate a single video.
So, that brings us to phase 1, decoding the viral niche.
You see, the very first step wasn't just blindly playing around with AI tools. It was meticulous research. The creators scoured YouTube to see what was currently popping off and found a wildly successful animated channel based on a super popular game called Grow a Garden. Now, this game had just shattered records for concurrent players, so we already knew the audience demand was locked in. And the financial incentive? Crystal clear. This competitor channel had less than 20 uploads, yet it had pulled in over 200 million views, bringing in an estimated 15 grand a month. Obviously, we want a piece of that action. But remember, straight up copying someone rarely works out.
Instead, this entire approach hinges on one core idea. Original ideas don't win on YouTube. Better execution does. Honestly, so many people waste years trying to invent something totally groundbreaking from scratch. But the real secret? It's taking a heavily validated, proven niche, kind of like those Grow a Garden animations, and just massively upgrading the execution, and specifically, doing that through much better storytelling.
And that crucial upgrade brings us to phase 2, mastering the conflict arc.
When looking at the competition, their biggest weakness was pretty obvious. They relied on predictable, simple storylines. A linear story where a hook just leads straight to the execution and a payoff. It's safe, sure, but it is entirely predictable. And this brilliantly illustrates why, to really capture and hold a modern audience's attention, you've got to use the conflict arc. You start with the hook and build up the action, right? But then, bam, you hit the viewer with a sudden conflict, followed by a comeback, and then finally the payoff. That unpredictability, it skyrockets engagement and watch time because the viewer genuinely has no clue what's going to happen next. So, how exactly do we build this arc? Well, you definitely don't guess. You mine the community for data. By digging into a video that had a crazy 16,000 comments, the creator found this highly desired in-game mechanic about a dog digging up a beanstalk seed. Then, they combined that with another viral trend going around about hacker admins totally abusing their power, and boom, we get this precise 5-step script. The character runs in, tries to sell stuff to a vendor, gets rejected by a hacker admin, makes an epic comeback when their dog digs up a rare seed, and finally gets their sweet revenge. It's not a guess, it is a data-backed, perfectly engineered story.
Now that we've got our script locked in, it's time for phase 3, the AI production playbook.
Look, creating high-level animations usually takes massive technical skill and literally weeks of time. But the real cheat code here is using AI through what we call a human-in-the-loop process. Basically, the AI does the heavy lifting, but human taste dictates the final output. If you just lazily toss an outline into ChatGPT and ask for a prompt, I guarantee the result is going to be terrible, disjointed, and just super generic. AI is a tool, not a magic wand. But when a human actually steps in, tweaks the prompt, throws in some reference images, and really guides the AI, the jump in quality is absolutely substantial.
Once you get the hang of it, this entire production tech stack takes maybe an hour. You generate your outlines, curate your image prompts, feed all that into an AI video generator, and then, this is absolutely crucial, you edit those clips down into really fast 1 to 3 second pacing cuts. Finally, you layer in the sound design. We're talking footsteps, character noises, background music. Honestly, sound design is the secret sauce here. It literally brings those somewhat stiff AI visuals completely to life.
All right, so the video is done. Now we shift from the art of creation to the hard science of uploading. In phase 4, hacking the YouTube algorithm.
Hitting publish on that very first video is obviously a massive milestone, but whether your channel survives long-term actually depends on what you do right after. This brings us to a super strict timeline we call the 48-hour rule. Basically, when you upload your first video on a brand new channel, you absolutely must wait at least 48 hours before posting again. You want to monitor your real-time views. If you're getting over 100 views an hour, do not post. Wait until those views dip below 100 an hour for more than 12 hours straight. If you flood the algorithm too early, you basically interrupt its whole process of finding your core audience, and you end up killing your own momentum. Just let the videos cool off.
So what happens after we play by the rules and wait? Let's dive into Phase 5, decrypting the analytics.
This is where we look at the raw, unfeeling data of our first upload to figure out why it didn't instantly go viral, and to uncover those hidden metrics that show we're actually on the right track. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the swipe rate. On YouTube Shorts, the golden target is having 80% of people choose to watch your video, rather than just swiping away. Our first video? It only hit 61%. Sounds a bit disappointing, right? Actually wrong. It's a completely necessary sacrifice. Since it's a brand new channel, the algorithm is basically just blindly throwing your video at a bunch of different audiences in a discovery phase to see who bites. So a lower swipe rate in the beginning is totally normal and entirely expected.
But the metric that actually saved this video? Average view duration. Specifically, 46 seconds. Once the algorithm finally found the right subset of people, they stuck around and watched for an average of 46 seconds. For a short-form video, that is a massive, massive win. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that our whole psychological conflict arc strategy worked perfectly. The story actually kept them hooked.
Armed with that amazing retention data, the creator uploaded video number 2 using the exact same story structure. And then, the incredibly nerve-wracking waiting game began. Day 1, 0 views. Ouch. Day 7, okay, a pretty promising 11,000 views. But then, because the algorithm saw those fantastic retention metrics, it started testing the video again and again. By day 16, the video triggered this massive algorithmic push, breaking out past 50,000 views and just rapidly climbing from there. The strategy absolutely worked.
But hey, before you run off to start your own automated media empire, we really need to talk about Phase 6, the realities of AI content. As this channel grew and blew past 150,000 views, some unexpected backlash started creeping into the comment section. People were complaining that the video was AI. So the crucial point is understanding why they were complaining. It wasn't really just because it was AI, it was because that whole hacker revenge conflict started feeling a little too exaggerated and unrealistic for the game's actual world. Look, viewers will totally accept AI content if the story is great, but they will actively reject it if the storytelling feels fake, lazy, or just reliant on cheap gimmicks. If you want to build a lasting brand, you've got to focus on realistic themes that genuinely resonate with human experiences, even if the visuals on the screen are entirely artificial.
Which finally leaves us here. We've seen firsthand that the technology is no longer the barrier, right? It's practically limitless at this point. The only real variables left are your own creativity and your discipline. So I want to leave you with this final thought. As you go out and explore these tools, are you just going to rely entirely on the cheap novelty of AI to do all the work for you? Or will you step up and use it as a powerful tool to execute proven, data-driven storytelling strategies better than anyone else out there? The choice, and honestly the viral success, is entirely up to you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.